What's up, friends? The Nerdy Filmmaker here. Today, I'm going to be doing a video that is a lot more personal than regular. So this one is unstructured. I don't know why I felt the need to make this video, but I want to talk about working with friends. It's like everyone's dream, right? Everyone starts off with this kind of dream of creating cool stuff with their friends, and it's usually because a lot of people's interest in film starts with just like a conversation, around the couch. Wouldn't this be cool? Wouldn't it be cool if we made this project? Or, oh, they should make something that's like this. It could be the best thing in the world. It could also really, really suck. And, I have been both fortunate and unfortunate enough to experience both ends of that. Let me start off with the fortunate. I have a production company called Beanduck Productions, and it was founded in 2012, I think. And this company is me and my best friend, Beatrice. Beatrice and I went to high school together. We lived together for a year and then we decided, you know what, we should make film. And we started off with commercials and on like small web commercials and stuff. And then we ended up making our first project called LARPs. And LARPs was exactly that. It was a bunch of friends making stuff together. That's all it was really kind of meant to be, in a way. It was a project that I had come up with a long time ago, never made, and then teamed up with a great writer and actor named John Verrill, who finally brought the project to the page. And Beatrice produced it, and I directed it, and we, had so many of our great friends and made really, really nice, like great ones also after that. And so that's really how it started, was me and Beatrice kind of like having this project and bringing more people on board. And Elizabeth Neal, who was one of the actors in LARPs, ended up being kind of our third beanducker. And it has not always been easy. But, when we started the company, Beatrice and I really think that this is something that you have to wholeheartedly agree on from the start and actively remember through everything, is that we agreed that our friendship comes first. Always our friendship comes first. And if at any point things were getting too hot to handle, that would be the end of the company over our friendship. And I am proud to say that even though, and actually maybe specifically through those hardest times, us having patience with each other and supporting each other and recognizing what our ambitions were and our desires were professionally, and really coming to terms with those things, our friendship and our working relationship actually have never been better. And we have so many amazing memories of making things together, and great memories that we'll cherish forever. So yeah, I can hope, I can pray that if ever you do go into work together with a friend, that's really what it is, because that's what it can be. Now, of course, not everything always goes the way that you hope. And there is a lot of dangers about working with friends. And I mean, a lot of dangers. The main one is just that it ruins your friendship. And, that has happened to me in the past as well. And that's very, very difficult, because you don't necessarily always have that agreement of friendship comes first with every friend that you work with, because people come and go out of your professional life. Beatrice and I, our professional life is essentially one. Whereas working with people here and there, they come and they go, and they don't necessarily have that lifelong connection that you have with your best friend. When you start to see a friendship deteriorate because of your working relationship, that's a really depressing thing. And so it is a risk that you're taking if you are going to work with friends. I guess some things I can say about tips to hopefully mitigate that, now that I've kind of gone through both sides of the equation, is, one, try to check in as much as you can. Make sure that you are leaving time to still be friends. That's something that B and I have not always done perfectly, which is that you work together, but you're friends first, which means that you need to have time that you're spending together that is not work related. And if you are talking about work, which ideally you're not, I have that problem. I'm always talking about work. But make sure at least it's not like sitting there strategizing, but more dreaming, because that's how it all starts, right? It all starts with a dream. So reconnecting with that with your friends can maybe be a really great way to kind of keep things friend-based. Second is don't avoid issues. If there is a problem that has arisen, maybe it's just a disagreement or something that you did or said or something they did or said, I think it's really important to address those things as early as everyone is ready to address it. I don't think it's helpful in the long run for anyone to be holding back thoughts, emotions, and I do think that if someone is maybe unaware of something that they did or said, that's not gonna help them or you, you know? Addressing these things and working through them, and it's gonna be hard and uncomfortable, but ideally, they also believe that your friendship is the most important thing. And so that's the number one thing, is to always keep that friendship, hopefully. The other thing is to, and this is hard sometimes when there is something like film where there is a hierarchy. Film is not a democracy, unfortunately. If you try to make a feature film or a project through democracy, I think you will learn very quickly why it is not done that way. But therefore, there becomes tensions about creative differences and whatever. And this is also something that I have learnt over the years, which is that for me, it's very easy to separate work relationships and friendships. If something happens at work, that doesn't necessarily affect my friendship. I can do that. A lot of people can't. And things that people say or do or whatever, or outranking or disagreements or creative differences, or maybe this like kind of you just, pulling your rank as a director can cause a lot of tension, especially if you don't do it tactfully, which I have not always done in the past. If you don't do that kind of stuff tactfully, it can cause a lot of tension and resentment. So I would say that even though I do think that the healthiest thing when working with friends is to keep your working relationship and your friendship somewhat separate so that you can have disagreements and not worry about necessarily always about the other person's feelings. It's for the sake of the project, right? The project is really what you both want to see come to fruition the best it can. To not forget the fact that those kinds of decisions can have a personal impact on someone else, even if it didn't on you. And that kind of just goes back to the idea of checking in after those kinds of things and making sure everyone's okay with it. And if they're not, to talk through it and to own up to things. If something that you said or did or whatever hurt someone, it's good to own up to things. It's a sign of maturity, so they say. Now, lastly, and this is awkward, but you should have contracts. Contracts are even more important when you're dealing with friends because you never know what's going to happen. You never know what's going to become of the project. You're never going to know and especially if it's like a co-creative or something like that, especially. But you also have contracts for your crew, and everyone should be signing contracts. And the reason is because, you never know what's going to happen, and so you're signing and you're agreeing for the future. You're not agreeing and signing for the past. You're preparing for whatever might happen, whether it's something great, like you friggin' sign a multi-billion-dollar film deal, or it might be because something has gone wrong, right? And as B always puts it, you gotta get divorced before you get married, which is a bit of a, not a morbid, but a depressing way of looking at it, but it's absolutely right. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that people are gonna like it when it comes time to refer to the contract, but it does mean that at the very least, decisions can be made at that point, regardless of emotions. And of course, if it comes to that point and you both disagree with what was in the contract and you want to, negate the contract, you both have to agree to that. That's totally fine, But if someone is differing from that, then at least you have the contract, you're safe, There are a lot of stories about this kind of thing. So make sure that you are protecting your friendship with a professional contract, right? So those are some kind of like things that I've learned about working with friends. It can be so, so great. The memories that I have from working on LARPs, being on set with friends and shooting all day and then going to the cabin that we rented and playing board games all night, and then probably drinking too much because we had to get up at 7 a.m. to start again the next day. That is the feeling that I continue to chase as a filmmaker. I think that's why, for me, let's say as a filmmaker and as a producer, along with B, most importantly for us is not the quality of your demo reel, but the quality of you as a person. If you can get along with the people, you know, on the cast and crew, and you can have a good time, and you can be supportive, and you can be friendly, and you can be, you know, have fun having fun, rather than someone who just shows up on set and goes, oh, I'm just here for work, and blah, blah, blah. It's like, fine, if you want to be there for work, like, there are definitely jobs that are best for you. But for me, personality, are you going to get along with everyone? Are we going to have a good time on set? That's always number one for me. I don't know why this has been on my mind, but it has been. I've been wanting to make a video about this, but I haven't been able to, just because I don't know what to say, or I didn't know what to say. I was sitting there like trying to write something, but that's why I just improvised it. This is not an informational video, but hopefully, you know, it kind of gets you ready for the potential greatnesses and dangers of working with people that are closest to you. I'm gonna go play some video games and edit this video tomorrow. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? All right, friends. Camera off.